Hello, welcome back to Watch This Film, the YouTube channel dedicated to movie reviews and news. My name is Chris, I'm your host, and today's film is 1999's Fight Club, directed by David Fincher. Now, this film is one of my favourite films. This version has sat on my shelf for the past 10 years. I've watched it many, many times in the 20 years that it's been released. In 2019, it had its 20th anniversary. This film is kind of really, really well known. It's a very popular, very famous film for its storyline, for its acting, for its I say its story. I already said story, but its story, its acting, the action involved, the fights involved, and just the nature of the film. The story centers around one gentleman who goes from like a really mundane, boring life, who kind of finds some people, some new characters, which sort of opens his world up, opens his mind up, and from that point, his kind of life rocket ships into this gigantic climactic finale right at the end. It is a long film; it's 159 minutes, but because of the nature of the film, the style and the quality of the film, it doesn't ever really feel like that. There's no flat points. Um, as I say, it kind of starts really mundane, but it just builds and builds and builds and builds like it's a never-ending roller coaster right up to the top, and then it never falls, it never ends. It's just enjoyable from beginning to end. Now, our main characters are the narrator, who is played by Edward Norton. You have Tyler Durden, who's played by Brad Pitt. um, Marla Driver, who is played by Helena Bonham Carter. You have a gentleman called Bob, or Robert Paulson, who's played by Meatloaf, and the other sort of well-known actor in it is Jared Leto, who plays a guy called Angel Face, who coincidentally gets his face completely destroyed. Now, the as it mentions, it is about a fight club, and the fighting in this, it's not like a your modern kind of mixed martial arts fights. There's not really any major skill or professionalism involved. It is almost like organized bar fights. And this it gives a nice level of sort of violence and and a blood and rawness to it. It's really interesting to see. Um, so this is one of my favourite films because I have always been drawn to violent films. I grew up with martial arts films, and it's something that I enjoy to see. Although, like I say, it's not an art. It's not beautiful. It is pure raw violence, and I'd say e- each of the actors plays their part in this film perfectly. Edward Norton's narrator character is really sort of quiet, within his shell, lonely, boring person, bit weak-minded, little bit sort of pathetic at the beginning. Um, and you see his rise and him come out of his shell, and again he plays that perfectly. Brad Pitt's character Tyler Durden remains kind of the same throughout. Kind of introduces himself slowly, but inside he's always this same person. He's very sort of wild, outspoken, a bit of a uncontrollable character. He's a bit so outrageous and does whatever he kind of feels he wants to. So the complete polar opposite of Edward Norton's character. But again, Brad Pitt plays that perfectly. Um, Marla Driver, Helena Bonham Carter, as per usual, she's flawless. Plays this kind of character really, really well. Kind of psychotic, a little bit wild, a little bit dishevelled, kind of crazy. She plays a kind of sort of hypochondriac loser, but perfectly well. Meatloaf is really good in it, and say although Jared Leto only plays a small part in it, so you don't really get to see much of his acting skill in it. But he's just sort of, I suppose, an important character because this kind of personality change at one particular point. That's why he's kind of pivotal to the story. Although, like I say, he doesn't really act much in it. But yeah, I will continue to watch this film over and over again, and for many reasons that I've stated, I will give this film a watch this film rating of 5 out of 5. And if it's not something you've seen before, it's definitely one you should go and see. Rent it, buy it, watch it by yourself, watch it with your friends, and then continue to watch it over and over again. Because every single time you watch it, you'll notice other little things that you maybe didn't spot the first time round. So it's a good film to watch multiple times. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit my random generator button on the laptop here, as mentioned in my introduction. This is going to select the next film that needs watching and reviewing. So let's get ahead with that. Okay, and the name it's pulled up is The Matrix. So again, another hugely popular film. A bit of a groundbreaking film as well for the way it's shot and some of the special effects that are used. Kind of opened up the world of possibilities and ideas for films way off into the future. So if you like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll be informed when that comes up. And if you could send me any comments, any recommendations for films you think I should see, and let me know. Put them in the comments, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you very much.